Just a quick heads up before we get started. If you are a person who believes that the devil is real and it's going to be upsetting for you to hear me talk about him in kind of a casual, secular manner, then you should skip this one. Take care of yourself. Welcome back to day 29 of 31 monsters in 31 days. Let's find out who we are making today. A little devil. All right, let's get started.
While we're sketching out the plan and making the basic blob shape that all the monsters in this series are built off of, I'm going to give you a bit of a history of the devil and why I included him on my monster list. If you want to see slower, step-by-step instructions on how to make the basic blob form, check out this video. For details on how I do my paper mache, check out this video. Both are linked in the description. As the Grim Reaper is the mythological personification of death, so is the devil the mythological personification of evil. As such, devil figures have roots that long predate Christianity. Ancient Persians had the Ogre Manu, a destructive, evil, and chaotic spirit who was the counterpart to their good creator god Ahura Mazda. Ancient Mesopotamians had Pazuzu and Lamashtu, male and female evil demons who brought chaos, sickness, and infertility. These ancient traditions planted the seeds of the idea of an adversarial relationship between good and evil, order and chaos, sickness and health, and light and dark. These early duistic ideas influenced later Jewish, Christian, and Islamic ideas of a cosmic struggle between good and evil. The image of the devil in Western art and literature borrows traits from other traditions like the ancient Greek gods Pan and Hades, who had horns and the hindquarters of a goat and ruled over the underworld respectively. In the Middle Ages, the devil had a minimal role in Christian practices. In fact, he was often kind of a comical character. However, as people started to believe in demonic possession and witchcraft through the medieval and Renaissance periods, the devil's significance increased greatly. As the devil became more associated with hellfire, wrath, and eternal suffering, artists began painting him with red skin. The trident or pitchfork also became part of the devil's imagery at this time, and may symbolize the devil's ability to wield power over damned souls in the underworld. During the Age of Enlightenment in the late 17th and 18th century, great thinkers such as Voltaire criticized belief in the devil. However, belief in this character still continues to this day. Halloween and horror culture have embraced the devil as a symbol of something supernatural and spooky, and also as a symbol of death and the afterlife. With some red face paint and a cheap pair of horns, the devil makes for an easy costume, and you'll see little devils trick-or-treating every year. For that reason, I had to include the devil on my monster list. So my first order of business is to use some air dry clay to make the devil's horns and eyes. I'll need these to be all dry before I can stick them to his face. This is DOS brand clay. This clay has a lot of paper fiber in it, and I really recommend a paper clay for a project like this. I'll leave a link for this clay and my other supplies in the video description. I also decided I wanted to make his nose out of air dry clay. I specifically wanted this one to look like the nose I did on my Bigfoot project, and this is a hard shape to duplicate in paper mache. So I don't know, you can call this cheating a little bit, but I'm making him an air dry clay nose. While I'm making sure the proportion makes sense on the blob, I'm actually peeling the nose off and letting all these pieces dry on an air vent overnight. If I left them stuck to the blob, they would take much longer to dry, and I'm trying to get these projects out pretty quickly. The next day, when the eyeballs are all dry, I'm hot gluing them to the blob and giving them a coat of yellow paint. When that was dry, I used a circle template to trace some irises, and I filled those in with red paint. Finally, I gave him some black pupils. I think it's best to paint the eyes when they're already attached to the sculpture, so you can make sure both eyes are looking in the same direction. Or not, if that's what you're going for. When the paint is good and dry, I'll give the eyes a nice thick coat of UV resin. This both gives the eyes a glossy finish and protects them from the paper mache I'm about to do next. We're going to use some brown paper to make his eyelids. I'm using my brush to coat both sides with glue, then twisting up a little scrap of paper towel into a little snake and folding that inside the paper like a little taco. I'm going to wrap that under the eyeball, repeat for the other side, and secure that down with some little bits of paper mache around the torn edges. I'm using some paper towel to make the upper eyelids. I used the same taco method as the lower eyelids, but switched to paper towel because it's a little bit more flexible. There's really no right way to do it. Again, I used some small bits of paper mache to blend the torn edges into the sculpture. Next, I'm hot gluing the horns onto the top of his little head. I'll wrap a paper towel eyelid around the base of his horns to make it look like the horn is growing out of his skin, not just stuck on there. I wanted to give him some wrinkly bags under his eyes, so I just made a bunch of lower eyelids and then stuck a few under each eye. I thought he needed some forehead ridges too, so I used the same technique here. I'm going to make him some lips and give him a devilish little smirk. Again, I'm coating some paper and glue, twisting up some paper towel, folding it inside like a little taco, and spreading that onto my devil's face in a lopsided little smile. I'll use some more paper to make the creases at the sides of his mouth, and carefully blend those into the mouth area with some small bits of paper. Finally, I'm using a wad of paper to give him a pointy little chin before setting him aside to dry. At this point, I decided to change the design a little bit from my original sketch. I thought it would be funny if the devil had a comically small pair of wings. And I'm so great at making wings now with all the practice I've been getting. So I used some cardboard and a bit of foam board to make him a little pair of wings. I also made some cardboard ears. I cut 2 pointed ear shapes out of a cereal box, then cut a small slit in each to act as a dart. I used some hot glue to glue one leg of the dart over the other. This gives that flat cardboard a bit of 3D shape. I used a bead of hot glue to add some detail to each ear. And when that was cooled, I covered both the ears and the wings in paper mache. When all the bits are dry, I'm finally going to hot glue that clay nose onto the devil's face. I'm also going to glue on his ears and his wings. I'm going to cover the joints with a final bit of paper mache. I'm being particularly delicate in the area around the nose. I'm using tiny bits of thin paper and really working the paper into the sculpture with my brush and a sculpting tool. Oh, I almost forgot this part. By this point, I decided I didn't want to give him hair like I had sketched out, but I still wanted him to have a little goatee beard. I'm twisting up some gluey paper, folding it in half, ripping it to the right length, and then sticking it onto his little chin. I'm making a little cluster of these chin hairs, and then we'll set him aside to dry one last time before paint. The first step in my paint job is to give him an all-over base coat in this nice maroon color I've mixed up. I added a bit of cornstarch and glue to the paint so it acts almost like a gesso. You can learn more about this DIY primer / gesso in this video if you're interested. I'll link it in the description. When that's good and dry, I'm giving him a black wash. This is some watered down black paint. I'm slapping it on with a soft brush, then wiping it back with a damp paper towel. The black settles in all the texture of the sculpture, and I think this adds a lot of character and grittiness. I'm also painting out his beard in solid black. When the black is dry, I'm going in with a brighter red color to bring back some highlights. Finally, we'll clean off the eyeballs with a cotton bud dipped in rubbing alcohol and glue some black felt onto the base of the sculpture. And here's our finished devil. I really love how he turned out. I definitely deviated from my original plan, but I really like this little guy. I'm glad I added the wings, and I like his little bald head. Give this video a like if you think I did a good job on him. If you think I did a bad job, tell me what you would have done differently in the comments. Don't forget, I've still got 2 more monsters to make. We're working with an extended spooky season here. I really appreciate your patience with me as I'm getting these final videos out. I've been trying not to rush through each sculpture, and that's letting me really enjoy the process. I can tell you though, you're definitely not going to want to miss tomorrow's video. I'm not done him yet, but he's already looking really cute. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Share and hype this video if you want to show me some extra love. I so appreciate it. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Or the next day, who knows at this point.